Welcome to the Online Success Journey podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey podcast, Patience.
Hello everyone and welcome to Online Success Journey. This is episode 348 and you'll want to subscribe right now and ensure you'll never miss a journey. The entrepreneurs that join me each week reveal the steps they took on their journey to success, and these steps reveal a path you can take as well. Today we have Dr. Laquore Meadows, from poverty to Ph.D, author, CEO, and a co-founder of Invest to Give. Hello, Dr. Laquore.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I know my audience are so excited to hear your story. Just start by telling us one thing we are going to learn from you today that will help us on our journey to success.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, let me just say thank you once again for allowing me to come and speak to your wonderful audience. I'm so excited to be here. So as it relates to one thing that one would learn today, I think it's really around how do we get started as investors in the stock market. So that's something I'm really passionate about, and so I'm happy to help people get going with that.
To hear more about that. But let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my audience a little bit about your background, what you did before you started your business?
Absolutely. So I am one who has moved from poverty to PhD. I'm originally from a small community in Ohio. So it's a suburb of a larger city called Cincinnati. And I grew up in a household, single parent, with a lot more ambition than we had means. But I always give credit to the University of Cincinnati's Upward Bound program, which was a college preparatory program that really helped me to lay the foundation in order to help me to get to where I am today. So fast forwarding, because of my experience in Upward Bound, as well as my grandmother's urging, she's always one who would say how important it is to get an education. I decided that I wanted to go to school and get as much education as I possibly could. And so with that led me into a career in higher education. So I have for over 20 years, up until recently, served in at colleges and universities, both as an administrator as well as a faculty member. But while I was there, I had a chance to engage with a woman who decided she wanted to donate $5.3 million to the organization that I worked with. And when she made the donation, I was so inspired by that. And then also thinking, okay, if she has $5.3 million, like how much money does she really have? And so I'm like, oh my goodness. And so with that, then that's when I really began to spend time with her. I learned that she had accumulated a lot of her wealth in the stock market. And at that point, I was like, all right, it's game on. And so that's what really got me started. And then I ultimately turned into a business to teach others.
Wow. What a background, Dr. Laquore. I know you said you came from the poverty background and you went over to becoming even an author, but why do you do what you do?
Yes. Well, I do what I do first and foremost because I am on a steadfast mission to build and to leave a financial legacy that will be the answer to someone's prayers. So that's why I do what I do. And so I also work with other people in order to help them to get started on that same trajectory. So that's my why. That's my big why.
Let's put him aside. How do you know you are successful?
How do I know I'm successful? Well, I think that I really receive that answer through my students. And so when I see them have their aha moments, when I see their light bulb go off, when I see them cheering, or when I see them also like, oh man, I made a mistake, but you told me to do X, Y, and Z, that is where it really helps me to see that, okay, what I'm doing is truly making a difference. Also, just being able to be more helpful to people and not really stress about things, that has also been a true blessing for me.
I hear that you really wanted to be on this to leave the legacy, but all of this stock market, but can anyone really do this stock market, or is it for gig people like you?
Okay. No, anybody can do it. That's the thing. So you don't have to have like the math degree. You don't have to have $1 million. You don't have to spend, millions of months studying. You don't have to do that. It is important to educate yourself, but each and every one of us, if we have a cell phone, if we have a computer, if we have connection to a Wi-Fi, we can become engaged in the stock market. So no, you don't have to be kind of crazy smart and all of that stuff. This is accessible to everyone.
Everyone knows what happened in 2020. Did it affect your business? How did you pivot?
Okay, so in 2020, it actually did impact my business because it made me think. I had to be more strategic around how do I make sure that during a time when people are a little bit afraid, how do you provide them some sense of solace, especially as it relates to a rocky stock market? And so it actually was a tremendous benefit for me because I could no longer do business as usual, but I had to stretch. And I think that that's really good for all business owners to go through, is that stretching moment. And actually, if I were to be completely honest, I'm stretching now as well. As a result of some recent technical changes with Facebook, I'm having to make a pivot. And so I think that, and I share that because I think that anytime an entrepreneur goes through something where things aren't quite working the way they used to, that just gives them another opportunity to get even better.
Considering many other investment types available, why is the stock market?
Yeah, so one of the reasons why I love the stock market is because it feeds my global curiosity. So everything is interconnected. Although I'm sitting here in Columbus, Ohio, in some way, some form, I have a connection to you in your world where you are in Great Britain. These companies that we are engaged in and purchasing and selling and so forth, if something happens in the economy here in the U.S., that impacts other places too. And so that's one reason why I particularly enjoy the stock market. But from a financial perspective, it is an opportunity to really, if you know what you're doing, realize a high level of return. So I'll give you one example. Last year alone, the S&P 500, which is an index, it represents 500 companies here in the United States. It appreciated nearly 27%. That's huge. That is huge. So for someone who perhaps had an index fund and they were investing in S&P, they made it out pretty well, last year. So, and not to say that that's always the case, but that definitely was a huge benefit and one reason why the stock market is a place I believe that all should consider engaging in.
Tell my audience about the magic moment, the day it suddenly all went right for you.
Good. So I would say the magic moment was the day that I said yes to my calling. And one thing that is important for me to share is that I recently walked away from my job. I had been in higher education for over 20 years, enjoyed a fabulous career, had wonderful opportunities to the whole prestigious fellowship and all the things, have a Ph.D. in higher education. However, I truly felt like God was calling me to do something different, greater level of impact. And so when I finally got over the fear and said, yes, I'm going to go ahead and do this and I'm going to do it afraid, that's when the floodgates just begin to open. It also gave me the mental space and the capacity to really dig deep and to learn even more about money, in particular outside of just having this sole focus and kind of deep focus in on the stock market. So it's been a blessing. I have to be honest. I just a quick aside. I'm reading a book. It's called Tax-Free Wealth. And it was prompted because of tax season. I'm trying to figure out, okay, so how do I do better with my taxes? But that book has opened my eyes to so much so that like literally on my way to dropping my daughter off at school, I gave her a whole tax strategy lesson. And I was also in my Facebook group, talking about the book to the women that I serve in there. And, I've got everybody excited about, okay, so how do we get on this wealth journey? So I truly believe that God, that's what he had me to do and has me to do. And so that magic moment for me was saying yes to my calling.
I see now you are also an author. Did you ever wanted to be an author growing up?
Nope. Not at all.
You are now #1 Amazon bestseller.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I'm definitely blessed to be able to be #1. No, I didn't have an aspiration to be an author. Growing up, I always verbally said I wanted to be a physician, but it was interesting when I was a kid, as I reflect on what I did, I was a teacher. So I was one who would line up all my teddy bears on my bed, and I'll have my little chalkboard out. I'll be passing out papers. So that was kind of what I grew up doing. But writing a book, no way. But I'm so glad that I did, because it has definitely served as an entree for many to get their first taste on the market.
What have you learned from business as a whole?
Ooh, be flexible. That's a big thing. Be flexible, be willing to pivot, recognize when something's not working, and move in a different direction quickly if you feel like it's not the right thing for you to do. That would be the biggest thing, is being flexible and being able to pivot. Another thing that I've learned is it's so important to own your audience. And what I mean by that is not, owning people by any means, but owning your audience as it relates to not solely relying on social media to carry the water for you, but find a way to create community outside of those spaces so that people can connect with you outside of the realm of a social media platform. That's really important.
As you mentioned, you've been in business for many years. I presume you have met aspiring entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. But can anyone be an entrepreneur, or are some people more cut out for it than others?
That's a really great question. So entrepreneurship is a whole thing. And so it's especially if you are the sole owner and you're a one-person show, it can be a lot. It can be a lot. So do I believe that anyone can be an entrepreneur? Absolutely, because I believe that all of us have unique gifts and talents that we are infused with, and we have ways and means to monetize those gifts. Should everyone be an entrepreneur? I would probably say no to that, only because you have to have that drive to keep going. Even when it doesn't look like things are working, you have to keep going. You have to pursue. And if one isn't willing to go through those seasons, I think it can be very challenging and difficult for that person. So could they? Absolutely. Should they? Maybe not. I'm just being honest.
Thank you. As you know, now there is no a 9-to-5 job, and you are telling us, Patience, you can't do stock marketing. Why not?
Yes.
Wow, thank you. How have you seen stock trading enhance your clients' financial growth?
Oh, a lot. I think the most significant thing, however, is the mental growth that they have received. Because once you realize that you have a lifelong skill that you can leverage to generate income pretty much 5 days a week, that's a life-changing endeavor. So as it relates to our financial lives, like I have students who've made lots of money. And I'll talk about one student in particular that comes to mind. His name is Michael. And I'm just so in awe about an experience he had. One of the things I'm very passionate about is giving honor to the men, women, and children who were at the time enslaved, unfortunately, here in the United States, that helped to build what is now called Wall Street. And so Wall Street is the largest kind of financial district here in the United States and probably in the world. But unfortunately, at the one point back in the 1700s, 1711 to 1762 to be exact, the grounds that Wall Street is now on was one of the United States' largest slave markets. And so with that, it's really important for me to raise up that history and that fact so that people are aware that people who look like me, people who came before me, they have a global impact on the world. And so with that, one of my students, Michael, he, of course, he didn't know how deep this was for me, but he went to Wall Street recently and decided that he wanted to make a symbolic move. And so what he did was he took what he learned from me. He took what he learned and he went in front of the New York Stock Exchange and literally traded stock right in front of the New York Stock Exchange. And that day he made over, I think it was $1,700 in like less than 45 minutes. And so with that, I just was so enamored and just like, oh my goodness, like the same grounds, the same soil that those men, women, and children toiled on, I in some way had an impact on one of my students to be there to make money in that same spot. So so definitely that's something that's really important, and we're so grateful that he shared that opportunity with me.
What grounds you?
Oh, God. Definitely God. Nature as well. I love nature. Anytime I can spend some time in the midst of some trees or rainforest, what have you, that's where you'll find me. So that definitely is a grounding experience for me.
In your business, do you have mentors or coaches?
I do. Yeah. Yes. I would not be anywhere close to where I am today if there were not for my coaches and those who have supported me. And that's one reason why I had the confidence to leave my job, was because I have such an amazing support system around me. One of my coaches in particular, and I will give him a shout out here. His name is Myron Golden. And when I say he has helped me to change my mindset significantly, that just being in his kind of atmosphere, his presence, has truly helped me to take it to a whole nother level. So yes, absolutely.
What is the most valuable thing your mentor has told you?
He's taught me so much. So I think the most valuable thing that he has said, he talks about this notion of becoming. So he talks about the notion of be, do, and have. You have to become the person who can do the things to have the things that you desire. And so he helps all of us, those who he mentors, to become, right? What got us here, what got me, for example, a blockbuster Q1 quarter as it related to revenue is not what's going to get me a blockbuster Q2 quarter, right, in revenue as well. So I'm constantly evolving. I'm constantly becoming. And I think that by him instilling that in us, that helped me to be okay with that and to understand that, okay, I may not be where I exactly want to be in this moment, but I recognize that this is an evolution process that ultimately, if I continue on this journey of becoming, I will get there.
If you could rerun the first year of your business, what would you definitely not do?
Oh my God, so much. I would probably say be afraid. For a long time, I was afraid. I felt like, oh, do I know enough? Oh, are people going to listen to me? Oh, do I even fit here? Do I belong here? My degrees are in higher education. So all of those limiting beliefs stopped me in my tracks for a lot of things. So I would say that I would instead focus on the things that served me and not those things that hindered me. And I think that's so important in life, is that, there's two sides to everything. There's a side that, can be, serving our favor. And then there's this other side that can keep us stuck. So it's so important that we choose which one is going to help propel us forward. And so that's what I would do differently.
What is one thing that has contributed to your success?
First, God. Secondly, being in community with people who think deeper, bigger, stronger, and higher than I do. That is so important. Immersing yourself among individuals who will stretch you, who are doing exceptionally well at what it is that they're created to do, and are there to help walk with you along that journey as well. So that for me is definitely a game changer because it also changes your mindset about things. It makes you believe that you can. It just helps. It helps so much.
Why was it important for you to build an apparent brand alongside Invest to?
Absolutely, absolutely. So with the apparel brand, so one of the things, I did not grow up at all having conversations around my dinner table about investing in anything. If anything, my mother and my aunt, they would literally have a competition over who had the greatest number of credit cards. So I didn't learn about financial wellness. And so with the apparel brand, my whole aim with this is to create products that will catalyze conversations among families, among communities. So what is a generational wealth builder? What is someone who is a stock trader with a definition on it? What does that mean? And so I want to encourage people to have those conversations to create community around wealth building. And so that was the whole purpose and goal behind the Chosen for More brand.
What is one thing no one knows about you?
What is one thing that nobody knows about me? All right, so I would say that, I've taken some significant losses in the stock market. So that would be one thing that people who are in my circle, they know that. But I think one thing that's important to know is that it's so important to manage your risk when you are engaged in a market. And so that would be one thing that I want everybody to know. Like, yeah, I've been at this for a while. And it's so easy for people to say, oh, I made this money. I made that money. Oh, we made $1,000 here, $5,000 there. But there's also another side to it as well. So that would be something most people, I believe, in your audience may not know.
Oh, thank you. Let's talk about your business. Tell us more about it and who can join it.
Yeah, so my business is called Invest to Give, and the whole focus of my business is really revolves around a name. So I'm investing so that I can give back to the causes and to the people that are most significant to myself. And I'm also encouraging and teaching other people to be able to do the same. So I have a number of different ways that people can get connected with Invest to Give. I offer a monthly challenge, which is for people who are interested in taking their first steps as stock traders. And so when we talk about trading, we're using the market to leverage price movement to generate income. Okay, so that is one way is through my challenge. I also have an inner circle. So these are for people who have an interest in learning pretty much the basics of the stock market all the way up to learning how to trade a more advanced strategy, which is called options trading. So that is another way that people can connect and learn within community with other people as well. I have the apparel line as well, which is Chosen for More. I also have my book available too. And so those are some things I got going on. I also offer free classes. So if somebody's just interested in the basics, I teach a free course every single Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so all are welcome to come to that for a stock market 101 workshop.
And how can we connect with you? Are you on socials?
I am. Yes, you can find me. Easy way to find me is on Instagram at invest2give. You can find me on Facebook. If you type Invest to Give or you type in my name, Laquore Meadows, you can find me there. I am also on Pinterest as well. So those are the key places. And I'm starting a podcast called Unshakable Wealth. And so you'll be able to find me on YouTube as well as all other kind of media outlets for podcasts.
Thank you. There will be more from Dr. Laquore in a moment. If you are listening to this on a podcast platform and you are encouraged by Dr. Laquore's journey, please go to our website at onlinesuccessjourney.com. In addition to the amazing free content, you can work direct with me. Check out my course, Success, How to Set Goals and Double Your Productivity, a course for achieving success in work and life. when you visit onlinesuccessjourney.com. The site has a ton of audio clips from hundreds of successful entrepreneur guests' journeys, all there to help you find the path to your own online success journey. Check it out. That's onlinesuccessjourney.com. Now, Dr. Laquore, I would love for you to share more with my audience if you're up for it.
Okay, yes, I'm ready.
Thank you. Do you watch movies or read books?
Read books.
Tell us, what is your favorite book that has some relevance to being an entrepreneur?
Ooh, yes, the book that I'm reading now is so phenomenal. It is called Tax-Free Wealth: How to Build Massive Wealth by Permanently Lowering Your Taxes. Tax-Free Wealth. It's amazing.
If your business was down to its last $100, how would you invest it?
If I was down to my last $100, what would I do? I would trade it, honestly. I would find a really high probability trade, and I would go and double it or triple it on the stock market.
What is the best business book you have ever read?
The 4-Work Week. It opened my eyes to so much. The book was really good. Changed my life, honestly.
If you are going to keep a note to yourself in your handbag every day, what would be written on it?
Oh, I love that question. Yes, such good questions. Oh, I love this. Okay, so what will be written on my notes? I love that. Choose you. Choose you.
What is your next chapter?
My next chapter is really being intentional about community building. I think it's so important, especially for people of color, which is primarily the community that I am serving in this phase of my business, to have some level of support around this whole notion of building wealth. And so, because oftentimes it's scary for us, it's also a new thing, right? It's like we see other people implementing strategies and meeting with their financial advisors and so forth. But for many of us, this is new. And so, my aim is to build a community around this so that those conversations about wealth can become more natural, not only within our families, but within our extended networks as well.
Wow. You mentioned the people of color, but don't you think this whole investing options and stock market, women are lower than men? I'm feeling that whenever you hear stock market options, you think, oh, currency, oh, that's for men. Women, and they're not going to be there. What do you think on that scale?
Oh, yeah, definitely agree. Women as well. Yes, absolutely. So my Facebook community that I mentioned earlier is for women. It's called Stocks and Sorors. So it's all women who are in Divine Nine, which is Black Greek letter organizations. Predominantly here in the U.S., but we also have some ladies that are a part of the group globally as well. But yes, absolutely. Women, we are often socially conditioned to say yes to a lot of things. And that's not our fault. We're socially conditioned to say yes to these things. However, we're not socially conditioned typically to say yes to our financial legacies. And so I completely agree with you in that respect. Absolutely.
I'm seeing many women are stepping up, and I hope the next generation will be hopefully on top there.
I hope so too.
Okay. Do you feel like you succeeded or like you are only on the way?
I'm only on the way. I'm just getting started. I'm just getting started. Yes, absolutely. So,
will you ever stop?
Nope, not at all. Not until my last breath. And then after that, I've got a little one coming behind me who I'm grooming to become, a dynamic woman as well. So, absolutely. Easy way to find me is on Instagram at invest2give. You can find me on Facebook. If you type invest to give or you type in my name, Laquore Meadows, you can find me there. I am also on Pinterest as well. So those are the key places. And I'm starting a podcast called Unshakable Wealth. And so you'll be able to find me on YouTube as well as all other kind of media outlets for podcasts.
Dr. Laquore, it's been great having you here to share your online success journey with us.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure as well. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And I certainly wish you and your audience much success. Much success. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Remember, success is a journey. Don't wait. Let's start the journey. Patience and Dr. Laquore.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to Patience and her guest and want you to know that there are hundreds of episodes available at onlinesuccessjourney.com. Patience would like to thank you for listening to the podcast, and she has a free gift for you on her website, including an audio compilation of her guests' best tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. Additionally, there are special clips of over 250 episodes that have never aired on the podcast and are only available to members of the Online Success Journey. Check the website and click on Join Now to get free and instant access. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps us each chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed on the favorite platform you have to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review the podcast at Apple Podcasts and other sites. We appreciate your help and your willingness to share the journey. One last thing. If you're feeling a bit lost or overwhelmed on your own journey, Patience can help. Check out our coaching sessions on how to set goals and double your productivity while you're at the website. Working with Patience is a great way to get back on the right path. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.